The silence of the 5-6s, why your shadow is your greatest competition. Sacrifice is the only currency that never devalues in the pursuit of greatness. Your background is a reason for your success rather than an excuse for your failure. Discipline is the quiet bridge between a desperate dream and a concrete reality. The world only cheers for the finish line, but the race is won in total isolation. True mental strength is found when you refuse to let your circumstances define your character. Focus is the act of killing every distraction that seeks to steal your future. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Big Brother, and this message is brought to you by Razor Focus. There is a specific kind of silence that exists just before a miracle happens, a silence that most people will never experience because they are too busy making noise, and that is the silence that surrounded Rinku Singh long before the world learned how to chant his name. I want you to imagine a young man standing in the dirt of Aligarh, holding a broom not because he wants to clean, but because he has to survive. He looks at the grime on the floor and then he looks at the sky, and in that moment, he makes a choice that changes the trajectory of his bloodline forever. This is not just a story about cricket or a boy who hit 5-6s in a row to stun the world. This is a manual on how to bleed for a dream until the dream starts breathing on its own. Most of you sitting here today are waiting for a sign, waiting for a lucky break, or waiting for the perfect conditions to finally start giving your life everything you have. You are paralyzed by the comfort of your current struggle, using your hardships as a pillow to sleep on rather than a fire to run from. You tell yourself that you don't have the resources, that you weren't born into the right family, or that the system is rigged against you. But I am here to tell you that the internal fire of a man who has nothing to lose is the most dangerous force on this planet. When you have seen your father carry cylinders on his back just to put food on the table, you don't need a motivational video to get you out of bed. You don't need a guru to tell you to focus. You need to look at the calluses on your hands and realize that your family's future is resting entirely on your ability to say no to everything that does not serve your mission. The modern world is a graveyard of wasted potential, a place where focus goes to die in the glow of a smartphone screen. We live in an era where distraction is sold to us as a commodity, where your attention is being harvested by people who don't care about your soul. You are walking around with a supercomputer in your pocket that is designed to keep you small, keep you addicted, and keep you comparing your behind-the-scenes footage to everyone else's highlight reel. You wonder why you feel anxious, why you feel unfulfilled, and why the greatness you once felt within you has become a faint whisper. It is because you have traded your depth for surface-level validation. You are chasing the applause of people you don't even like while neglecting the work that would make you respect yourself. Real strength is not found in the gym alone, it is found in the moments when you are tired, when you are lonely, and when nobody is watching. It is the discipline to stay in the cage and swing the bat 10,000 times when the world has forgotten your name. Rinku Singh did not become a household name during those 5 balls in Ahmedabad. He became a legend during the years of injury, the years of being a substitute, and the years of being told he wasn't quite good enough. He became a legend in the dark. There were seasons when his name was not in the playing 11, when he carried drinks instead of headlines, when he trained without the guarantee of opportunity. That is where most dreams die. Not in public failure, but in private doubt. When you are not chosen, when your effort is invisible, when your progress is slow, your mind begins to negotiate with you. It tells you to settle. It tells you that this is enough. But greatness is built in the refusal to negotiate with mediocrity. In those lonely seasons, Rinku Singh was not fighting selectors or critics. He was fighting the small voice inside that whispered, "Maybe this is not for you." And every time he returned to the nets instead of retreating into excuses, he strengthened something far more important than muscle. He strengthened his identity. We talk about talent as if it is a divine gift, but talent without obsession is nothing more than a tragedy. There are millions of talented people working jobs they hate because they lacked the stomach for the journey. They lacked the ability to endure the boredom of excellence. Success is boring. It is the same drills, the same diet, the same early mornings, and the same rejection of temporary pleasure for permanent power. If you want to reach the level of the elite, you must be willing to be misunderstood by the masses. You must be willing to let people think you are crazy, or cold, or obsessed. You have to realize that every time you say yes to a social event you don't want to attend, or yes to a distraction that breaks your momentum, you are saying no to the person you are supposed to become. You are killing your future self to satisfy your current ego. This is the cost of greatness, and it is a price most are unwilling to pay. They want the trophy, but they don't want the scars. They want the 5 sixes, but they don't want the years of sweeping floors. They want the glory, but they are terrified of the responsibility that comes with it. Responsibility is the heaviest weight a human can carry, but it is also the only thing that builds the muscle of the spirit. When you decide that you are responsible for your parents' retirement, for your siblings' education, and for the honor of your name, your focus becomes razor sharp. You no longer have the luxury of procrastination. You no longer have the luxury of a bad mood. You become a professional who performs regardless of how they feel. Emotion is a liar that tells you to stay in bed when the world is waiting for you to conquer it. You must learn to disregard your feelings and follow your standards. Standards are what keep you going when the motivation runs dry. Standards are what make you run that extra mile when your lungs are screaming for air. Standards are what make a boy from a small town stand in front of 90,000 people and remain the calmest person in the stadium. He wasn't playing against the bowler, he was playing against the version of himself that wanted to give up years ago. That is the only competition that matters. You are not racing against your neighbor or your colleague. You are racing against the clock and the person you were yesterday. Understand this clearly, your shadow is your greatest competition. The version of you that chooses comfort. The version of you that scrolls instead of studies. The version of you that complains instead of commits. That shadow follows you everywhere. It knows your weaknesses. It knows your fears. It knows exactly when you are tired and when you are tempted. If you do not confront it daily, it will quietly take over your life. Rinku Singh's greatest victory was not the 5 sixes. It was the thousands of silent victories over his own doubt. Every early morning he chose training over sleep, every time he chose discipline over distraction, he defeated his shadow. That is the war you must fight. Not once. Every single day. If you are listening to this right now and you feel a stirring in your chest, that is your potential trying to break through the concrete of your excuses. Do not silence it. Do not go back to your old habits the moment this speech ends. Most people listen to words like these and feel a temporary high, only to go back to their distractions 5 minutes later. They are the spectators of life, the ones who comment from the sidelines while the warriors are bleeding on the field. I am asking you to step onto the field. I am asking you to make a commitment today that you will no longer tolerate mediocrity in any area of your life. Whether it is your health, your work, or your relationships, you must demand more from yourself than anyone else could ever expect. This is the path of the razor focus. It is a narrow path, and it is a lonely one, but it is the only one that leads to a life worth living. As you continue this journey of transformation and dedicate yourself to the relentless pursuit of your highest self, take a moment to acknowledge this commitment by liking this video and subscribing to the Razor Focus channel. Let it be a symbolic act, a mark of your entry into the community of those who refuse to be average, and a promise to yourself that you will keep feeding your mind with the fuel it needs to stay sharp. Time is the only thing you can never get back. Every second you spend scrolling through meaningless content is a second you have stolen from your legacy. Every hour you spend worrying about things you cannot control is an hour you have sacrificed at the altar of fear. You think you have time, but you don't. The clock is ticking for all of us, and the end comes for the king and the commoner alike. The only difference is what you leave behind in the hearts of those who saw you fight. Did you give everything? Did you leave it all on the pitch? Or did you play it safe because you were afraid of looking foolish? Fear of failure is the ultimate illusion. Failure is not the opposite of success, it is a vital component of it. You must fail. You must get hit. You must be knocked down until you learn how to stand up with a spine made of steel. The man who has been broken and put himself back together is far stronger than the man who has never been tested. Rinku Singh was tested by poverty, by injury, and by the crushing weight of expectation. He didn't break. He became a diamond. Look at your life right now. Look at the distractions you have allowed to take root in your daily routine. Look at the people around you who are comfortable with being ordinary and realize that they are anchor points keeping you from drifting into the deep ocean of your potential. You may have to leave some people behind. You may have to spend seasons in total isolation to find out who you really are. This is not cruelty, it is survival. You cannot fly with those who are content with crawling. You must surround yourself with the ghosts of the greats, with the stories of those who defied the odds, and with the relentless drive to be the best in the world at what you do. Focus is not just about what you do, it is about what you choose not to do. It is the art of subtraction. Subtract the noise, subtract the ego, subtract the doubt, and what you have left is the pure, unadulterated power of a human being in pursuit of a mission. The story of the boy from Aligarh is not a fairy tale. It is a testament to the fact that the human spirit is unyielding if the will is strong enough. It doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter what you lack. It only matters how much you are willing to endure. The world is full of people who started with everything and ended with nothing because they lacked discipline. And the world is full of people who started with nothing and ended with everything because they refused to be stopped. Which one will you be? Will you be the one who tells the story of how hard life was, or will you be the one who shows the world how you overcame it? The choice is yours, but the choice must be made now. Not tomorrow, not next week, but in this very breath. When you leave this room or turn off this audio, the world will be waiting to distract you. The notifications will buzz, the critics will whisper, and the comfort of your old life will try to pull you back into the warmth of the mundane. You must resist. You must stay cold to the temptations and hot for the goal. You must carry the spirit of the finisher. Remember that the last few minutes of the game are where the legends are born. When everyone else is tired, when the pressure is at its peak, and when the odds are stacked against you, that is your moment to shine. That is when you show the world what you are made of. That is when you hit the sixes that echo in eternity. Stand up. Look your reflection in the eye. Forgive yourself for the time you've wasted, but never let yourself waste another second. Your life is a masterpiece waiting to be painted, but you are the only one who can hold the brush. Now go out there and live with such intensity that the universe has no choice but to give you what you want. Be the one who works in silence and lets the results speak in thunder. Be the one who chooses discipline when no one is watching. Be the one who competes only with yesterday's version of yourself. This is the way of the warrior. This is the way of the elite. This is the way of razor focus. Do not look back. Do not hesitate. The path is clear, and the destination is certain if you only have the courage to keep walking. The silence of the 5 sixes was never empty. It was filled with years of unseen sacrifice. Now it is your turn to enter that silence, to build in the dark, and to emerge so undeniable that the world has no choice but to witness your rise. Wake up. The world is waiting for you to take what is yours.